Grand Rising, everyone. It is Shay Seeking from American Aborigines Unchained here on YouTube and in the Facebook group, or the creator of the Facebook group. Um, and I wanted to go ahead and share something with you guys about Solomon and the Queen of Sheba, having something to do also with twin flames, and again, how I've been talking a lot about how things have been being um, manifested, and that you know there are certain. Okay, so anyways, we can look at this story as something that is being foretold, or we can look at it as something that has happened in the past. Because again, I feel when it comes to the soul or spirit of a being, um, that these spirits can be somewhat reincarnated um, through bloodlines, DNA, and spiritually, right? So again, I thought that this was something that I wanted to share. Well, again, because it was something that was happening in real time, um, and I feel like in this time, there's a lot of things that I don't want to speak on because I don't have the full understanding on them. But the one thing that I cannot deny is that in real time, these things have happened to me. And so I feel like it is okay or necessary for me to speak this. Now, like I'm telling you guys, in this instance, I feel it resonates with me a lot for a reason. Um, I feel it resonates with me a lot for a reason because of many other spiritual things and that are going on um, in this realm with me in dreams, in visions, and things like that. And so I think that some of these things need to be acknowledged, and it can't be looked at as being haughty or being any kind of way like that. It is just speaking these things into existence, and basically also claiming the right, because um, again, I'm noticing that I've lost out on a lot of spiritual things that may have been bestowed upon me because of um, not fully claiming or not fully um, accepting these things as if they are, or everything is for someone else, when I know good and well that some of these things are happening. And so again, they're just like in past times, in times to come, there will be incidents that happen that way, where other people's um, they will be able to use their energy. They will be able to stand their ground and be able to obtain these particular gifts that may not be theirs. They may be theirs because they have been because of manipulation, or manipulation, but by blood and by right, you know, this is something that I battle with, because again, mostly with me, it's on the spiritual realm. When it comes to man's way, I can be pretty stubborn, but when it comes to the spiritual realm, I'm all up in it. So it's kind of like, that's the way that I live my life. And at the end of the day, all I can do is look to the ancestors, guides, and gods, and and hope that they hear me and that they see that I'm trying to do that which has been willed upon me. Okay, so again, I'm at a point where things are being moved around within this kingdom. um, some people not even realizing who they are, how powerful again they are, and um, what they came here to basically do. Um, because there's so everything has been flipped upside down, inside out, and manipulated. So we all have false perceptions and notions as to what's going on here. So, anyways, let's go ahead and read this here. So, I find it funny because these things happen, like I tell you, in real time with me. Okay. So I don't have to uh, try to lie or manipulate or anything. These things are happening right before my eyes, right? Okay. So, um, let's see. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and read this post. And I guess it's from 2016. I found it online because I was looking for something about this storyline. Um, and I had another picture that I wanted to put up, but again, we see the lion there. You know, that reminds me of the Lion of Judah. Um, it being a symbol of a Solomonic kingdom. Again, and then when I looked at that kingdom, I don't know, Selassie is, you know, well, okay. um, and then I showed you guys the king of Assyria that looked very similar. No, there's so many different aspects here again, and I don't want to misstep and speak too much. So I'm just trying to speak in general terms, layman terms, without putting too much out there. But maybe one day we'll, like I said, go into the imagery of this, because again, I deal with a lot with images and describing images. Um, but I'll show you guys some of the stuff that I've been seeing when it comes to, you know, pe people, beings, creatures in this time. Um, yeah, hopefully we can do something like that, where I'm just showing you guys what I'm seeing, right? Okay. So again, I'm never here to tell you what it is. It ain't. I'm just sharing what it looks like to me. Okay. So this is talking about the twin flames in history. King Solomon of Israel and Queen Sheba of Ethiopia. So again, this is going to be a tying of two, seems like two different nations in a sense, but Ethiopia being the oldest and King Solomon of Israel would be probably newer. So really, in my eyes, Queen of Sheba, um, like I said, she was the Queen of Ethiopia, and that's one of the oldest dynasties. Um, yeah. And then here you go with Israel, and that's going to be broken up into two different, it's like a tri or a three way in a sense. But it says, when King Solomon had invited the neighboring kings to come up onto him, um, in order to show them his glory, and especially to show them his ability to converse with the birds and the animals and the creeping things. They all sat down together to observe this great spectacle. Now, again, a lot of these things, when it's dealing with different twin flames from different times, different, um, you know, um, it can be hard to, it can be feeling like it's intertwined. So it's kind of hard to, you know, uh, this is why I ask for discernment, because, you know, I, like I did the video before about the two entities, okay? It can be hard to decipher which energy is serving what. So then it turns into something um, that can be very chaotic and confusing. But all in all, that's why I try to, or you would have to try to strengthen, or ask for discernment, basically, and able to separate everything and see it for what it is, and not give all glory to um, one area that really duly belongs to the other. And so, anyways, I've been conflicted for a while with this, and so um, yeah. So, anyways, let's see. So when we're talking about the creeping things and all this stuff like this, and the birds and stuff like that, so I think that this is Solomon showing other people, other kings, again, and Solomon would be a living entity or a spiritual entity in this time, um, showing his neighboring kings how he speaks with, now again, these birds and animals and creeping things are going to be different groups of people. It's so funny because it's even saying it like that, and I'm thinking Israel, because again, that would be Isis Ra El again. um, yeah. I'm just trying to see. That's this is going to be a little bit deeper than what it is, but I'm just saying on the surface, the 3 and 3. Um, hmm. So again, they all sat down together to observe this great spectacle. While this was taking place, King Solomon noticed that the hopo or hopo bird was absent among the birds, and he commanded his servants to bring unto him the bird, even if it meant chaining him. Okay, it's funny how we use the term chain. um, hmm. When he was eventually brought before the king, you know, yeah, that even means like, makes me think of like jailed or something of that nature. When he was eventually brought before the king inquired where he had been. Okay. Um, hmm. So the hopo uh, replied that the king should not be wroth, for he had gone for days without food and drink, flying in the heavens, hoping withal to find a land or kingdom where Solomon's fame had not yet reached, and then to return unto the king and duly report his findings to the king. Now, I don't know about y'all, but and this is my first time reading this. I like to kind of read it with you guys and see what we see, um, just from looking at it, and then I'll go a little bit deeper or go find sources of things that are reminding me of this afterward. But for some reason, this is reminding me of the story, even of, and that's what I'm saying about these stories overlapping and intertwining with each other, because it's reminding me of when God came, I mean, when Satan came, and I can't remember who else it was, to speak to God. Um, and he asked him where had he been, and he said, going to and fro within the earth or whatever, right? Um, and so again, the way I look at this word too is these are battles between kingdoms, um, new and old world gods and kingdoms disappearing while new ones were being formed. And again, so there is always going to be a fighting battle going on within these storylines, where I can't just look at it one way, because it's not one way. There's all kind of things going on back and forth in and out of the text. So again, when you hear somebody saying something like that, could you imagine if someone was a ruler in their own nation, and someone else had come into the nation and start to rule, and this person has to answer to whoever the new person do you see what I'm saying? So again, this is a non-biased channel. If it's going to make it look one way or the other, I don't try to steer it either way. I just go right down the middle, and we try to look at this in a different aspect. And okay, and I believe this is a gift that I have, as far as seeing or scrying. And you can either take it or leave it. Same thing with me. I may take something from and put and place something in that makes that fits the narrative a little bit more better. But again, that is why, to each his own. Okay. I'm trying to, at this time, I'm going through the layers of this, but I'm also seeing signs and symbols that have been sent to me that are filling in while we're going along the lines. Okay, so we can so I can resonate also if this is something that is speaking directly to me, or if we're speaking of something else. So it says, after these entreaties, the bird proceeded to report on a kingdom which he had discovered afar off, governed by a queen, the queen of Sheba, from the castle Quitor. Their country, he said, was a good land, and the trees and gardens watered by the rivers issuing forth from the okay Garden of Eden. Okay. Mm, you know what? Okay. 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 So I won't go there just yet. And where there was gold and silver aplenty, and where the citizens of that country made no warlike gestures, and wore crowns upon their heads. At hearing this, King Solomon took up the hopi in his hands and commanded his scribes to write, okay, into his hands. So again, this means that he, this hopi bird, and I'm seeing something else here. Um, like owl or something. So, I don't know. Hmm. And commanded his scribes to write an epistle unto the queen of Sheba, which epistle should then be bound, okay, bound to the wing of the bird. And the bird sent back on his journey into the land of Sheba, which also Sheba reminds me of Shiva sometimes. Again, and still, okay. And it says, from me, King Solomon, greeting unto thee, and greeting to thy servants, in order that you might know that God hath made me king over the wild beast and the fowl of the air, and and that all the kings of the east and the west, of the south and the north. So again, this is making me think of just, again, that the scripture about sending the sun from the north. There's a lot of different scriptures also that's coming to mind about at some point in time someone being replaced, or God even, it talks about how God made Sheba's heart feel a certain way about, um, we'll go into that later because I'm going to read that next. Okay. It even makes me think about like hardening the Pharaoh's heart. Like these are gestures that the gods will use, excuse me, in order to uh, make, because can you imagine these things being written or these things happening and people don't make mistakes? And so you think it's going to happen exactly the way it's saying it in this text? I don't think so. Or you think everybody, even if it does, you think everybody's going to interpret it and perceive it the same way? No. So, um, you know, it just is what it is. Okay. So it says, do come and salute me. So too. Okay. So this is basically, him saying that these people salute, him too. Like also, you know, um, again, I don't know if this is saying between, what was I going to say? No, we'll just stop there. Okay. So I don't want to get too confused. Um, it shall now please you. Come thou unto me and pay homage unto me. I shall do unto thee great honor, more so than what I do to the other kings who sit before me. Okay. So, and again, and again, for some reason, it's just been put on my spirit to say, that we're saying, a lot of this text I've noticed lately, and it's just been really heavy on my spirit when we're talking kings and queens, that I feel as though females could have been, the text could be explaining a queen as a king. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? When it's saying on all of the kings of the earth, well, it's I just feel as though sometimes we can't be focused on the outward appearance or sex, because you see some women have a more masculine energy to them. I think that even when we're talking about transgenderism and these other things like this, that is ways deeper and more heavy on things more than what we see of the outward appearance. Okay. um because again, a lot of like me going on this journey, I've gotten an urge or a sense of man up, you know you know big boy kings don't cry, things like this or whatever, when I'm going through my emotional times. So it's just almost like, I just think that sometimes we are seeing this when we're talking kings, that there can also be women that are of a warrior or a more even Hellenistic, just like a, a and they may show them masculine in images because really these people had a masculine spirit. Okay, kind of like the women of the Wonder Women, the women of those types of clans. Okay, so and then if we look back into antiquity and we look at different kings and queens that come, some kings dress more feminine um, as well. I mean, dresses and all. So, I think it's more than just what your outward appearance is when we're talking about this. So kings can be interchangeable with queens and vice versa, you know. Um, all right. So anyhow, I shall do unto thee great honor, more so than what I did to other kings who sit before me. But if you do not wish to do so, okay. So again, neither will thou come and salute me, then know of certainty that I will send against thee kings and legions and horsemen to wage a war against you. Okay. So, even even this, just being a sense of a this is it seems like a girl move, I'm not trying to be fun because we just free here with the word. There's no restrictions. Nobody have to feel uncomfortable with talking about certain things that seem like certain things that which they probably are. That most people will not go there because they are afraid to challenge. Okay, and so again, that's why I think that everybody has their own way and their own thing, and this I do things different here. Okay, we're supposed to be having fun with this. Is when they took this away and this way of viewing and thinking, this is where you lose people in the text. That's just what I think. Okay. So again, you know, uh, yeah. So it's just saying if you won't, then I'll send people against you. Um, Even if it is a male king, it's still, you know, a move. That's just, I would just say it's a, you know, more effeminate move. Because what people should be able to choose, right? You know. Okay. So it says now the Hopi bird and its big flock all lighted up the castle Kitar. Okay. Now, again, all of this stuff to me is happening in real time. There are certain images, again, that maybe I will put them together later on. I'm at this point, I'm waiting for confirmation, spiritual confirmation to go further with this. Okay. And show you guys some of the things that I'm seeing here that I may not be speaking outright here. Okay. Um, because again, speaking too much, you know, okay, how that goes. And I've done that already on my spiritual journey. And so this is why it's hard for me to even speak on these things, even letting the words come out of my mouth, you know, is something, but I feel like at this time I'm getting some type of pressure or some kind of something put weight on my heart to just speak it, okay, and not be afraid, okay. All lighted upon the castle Kitar, um, in the land of Sheba, at the time when the queen of Sheba was going out in the morning to make her um, obeisance, o- obeisance. Okay, it's kind of like your respect or your homage, okay, to the sun. Okay, so again, early, which was on the rise. Okay, so again, so now this is the sun that is on the rise. It's a sun. Now we could be talking about the sun that's rising in the sky, but we can also be talking about a spiritual journey of a sun, a son, that is coming up, okay, in the world. Okay, he's being raised up at that point in time. Okay, it says, but for the multitude of birds, okay, the sun would have put forth its rays. Okay, so again, all right, so right here, like, I'll just stop there. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you guys, yesterday I was out in my yard. I had an urge to just go outside and sit and sit in this, bathe in the sun. It was looking bright, it was looking inviting. And so I went and sat um on my patio, and I'm just taking the sun in, and I'm just I was trying to meditate for a second, but things start filling my mind, and then it turns into communing with the sun, or communing in the presence of the sun. Okay. And so it's warm on my body. I miss the sun because it's been a couple of days where it was gloomy, and I'm just sitting and just enjoying myself, right? Okay. And normally, you know, I mean, it was a little bit cloudy, right? So the sun was sitting there, but I was speaking of something that was on my mind about this whole somewhat storyline, and about spiritual connections and things that are going on in the background, um, and things that have been on my mind that I thought the spirit was trying to tell me. But again, this may have been confirmation, okay, of even speaking in terms of what's to come, okay. Um, So even subconsciously making these decisions also as we go through our day, these particular things. And that's why I try to stay in good energy. But I know that there's certain entities around in certain times when I'm feeling another, type of way, as if I need to shield or protect myself because, um, you know, there's always, it's a warfare. Okay. It's warfare. That's just what it is. Okay. All right. So the sun will have put forth its rays, yet now, okay, the sky was darkened by the multitude of fluttering creatures. Okay. Now, and I can't remember if we read that last night about the clouds. Okay. There's a lot going on within the clouds because, again, same thing with different fumes or things like that that are going on, that are surrounding us as we go outside, and gases and things like that. The same thing I feel is connected to the clouds. Okay. And so anyhow, the sky was darkened by a multitude of fluttering creatures. So again, I started to, as I was sitting there in the sun, all of a sudden the sun went away. And I'm sitting here reading. Okay. I'm reading. The sun went away. It got really, really chilly. I'm sitting out there in a tank top and a skirt. As this conversation is going on, I have a small pond in front of my deck. And as I'm communing, I'm noticing that the water in the thing, as I'm going back and forth, The water in the thing, the solar, there's like a solar fountain. Um, you know, I'm communing, right, with the sun, and asking questions, and this water is sprouting out of the thing randomly, just here and there. It, I mean, it's just something that you have to experience in order to see. But you have to also know that everything here, when you're trying to stand, or when you're standing in your power, okay? Again, and I'm saying trying because there's always something that's going to be there trying to knock you off throughout the day, hour after hour. I mean, it's just going on, okay? So I started to smile, and I started saying, wait a minute. And I'm just looking around like I'm tripping or whatever. So, and my daughter's out there, playing around on her trampoline or whatever, and I'm just sitting there. So it gets really cold, and I run in and I go get my jacket out of the sunroom. And then I get my cushion, and I'm actually sitting, no, I was already on the cushion. Okay. But I went and got the coat, and I'm sitting there. All right. Now it says the queen, being astonished by such a sight, immediately rent her garment. Okay. Now, again, rent her garment, you would think that that sounds like something like some, I don't know what it would think of, but I didn't think of this until it actually happened. So basically, I feel like this meant that she went to go get a sweater or a jacket or something to put over her, because that's what happened to me. Again, so whether these things are happening so that I can relay this message to someone else, or if it is absolutely talking about me and what's going on in these times in the spiritual realm, is for the person that's hearing this and the person that's speaking it to discern. Okay. But I have this feeling as if, you know, um, just because people do things and things happen, that there may be some mischief going on. And again, I refuse to let that person that needs to hear this message, or me, lose standing in what is going to be going on here, just because it's not the way that man has um, implemented on us as to how things work. I stay in the spiritual realm more. That's a problem for me in the real world. This is the reason why some of us don't fit in to society as much, because this is how it is. And it's not even about faith or belief. It's about, in a sense of knowing, right? Okay. So since there's going to be people that believe it or see it or don't, you know, those that should know will know. And that's the way that this is. They'll be in one mind, and they'll know. Okay. They'll know. All right. So it says, at this token, the Hopi bird suddenly descended in plain view of the queen, and she took notice that there was an epistle bound to one of its wings. Okay. Now I'm gonna just tell you this because, again, just in case some things like this or wonders are going on around you. At that time, yes, there was a lot of commotion of birds, and I'm thinking, where are all these birds coming from? So again, in the literal sense, we could be speaking of that. And there was two strange birds that did come into my view and come really close into my view, into the yard, and start to come right in. They came right in front of me. But then also at that time, there was a couple of tweets that came in, right? So again, this is what I'm saying about this being a universal thing, that and it's real. Universe is using all types of things in nature and telepathically, electronically, in order to relay messages. Okay. Also, people that are higher up in society and people that are lower, because at this time I do feel as though there is something where there has been, now it might be shifting now, right, where those that are above have been uh, able to come below or in commune with their lower self or even their lower being, because again, people will see it as though this is all internal, but the way I see it is another layer. We add another layer to it. I actually sense these, some of these beings in real life. Okay. So she took up the bird and untied the letter. Okay. reading what was written thereon. Again, she could not withhold her shock and surprise. Okay. And again, I won't go there with the details just yet. Okay. So she then sent and called for the elders and the great men of her kingdom, saying unto them, have you not heard what King Solomon has sent unto me? Okay. They answered her, we do not know such a one as King Solomon, neither will we acknowledge his kingdom. Okay. Okay. So, so yeah, that has me a little bit in deep thought, but we'll keep moving. Yet the queen was not satisfied with their counsel and advice, and so quickly called and sent for all her ships at sea. Okay. Okay. No, we can be talking literal ships at the sea. Yeah, we could be talking also something on a spiritual level. Hmm. And commanded her sailors to load them with the timber of boxwood and jewels and precious stones, that all vessels should be fitted out the deck's brim with such things as they might stand in need of for a long and protracted voyage to the sea. Remind me of come along and ride on the fantastic. Okay, we'll stop there because it's like 7 o'clock in the morning. Okay, all right, and I can really only sing in the shower. I'm just telling you. Okay, camels were also to be carried along so as to permit hauling the brethrens once they had landed and gone ashore. She also commanded that 6,000 youth, some boys and some girls, should accompany her on his on this journey. Okay, so again, certain arrangements I feel are being made. And again, at some points in this journey, I feel like you are selecting with the people. Okay, okay, with the people spiritually. Okay, the people possibly friends and family, the people, in your feed when it comes to social media. I feel like these people do have a heavy influence on your everyday life, because if you're always scrolling, these people have an influence, and I feel like, especially right now where everything is shut down, and, you have, shoot, you have all of us sitting at home on social media, those that are above and those that are below, and so it's to a point where, I feel like there is a linking up going on spiritually, um and in some of these terms and conditions when communing, okay, in that realm, because sometimes you can have like a little peek of these things that are going on, um and you'll be reading something and recall how one day you were thinking, yeah, well, I would need this, and it, because again, again, whether we believe it or not, this stuff is being set up as we speak. Okay. Whether it's going to all manifest like that in the physical, I don't know. But in the spiritual realm, it's going down. It's going down. Okay. Um, so again, this is just reminding me of something that I wrote out the other day. Okay. Something that I even just thought of. Okay. Yeah. On this journey again, and it's also reminding me of just sitting sometimes and feeling like, I know that the Elohim want me to figure this out on my own, but there's a lot, and I would like some help. I would like, um more help, please. So it's mhm. Yeah, so it This is just reminding me of that. Okay. It says children who were to make up the main core of her delegation. So again, I call them the council. I call you guys the council, the soul siblings or whatever you might want to say. Okay. Besides a great entourage of sailors and servants in attendance. Okay. Meanwhile, because again, everything is modernized. We have to think about the times that we're in, and we have to be able to bring the word into that time too. And I think that that's when we get the full, you know, view of what we're really seeing here. Okay. And it says, meanwhile, the Queen of Sheba sent back a message to King Solomon requesting to leave requesting leave of the king to come unto him in 7 years time, considering the long voyage that had been taken at sea. Okay, because then lost at sea, the reef, all of this stuff is coming to mind because again, I told you guys when I really sat there and watched that movie Moana, when we're talking about that reef, it's kind of like a off to a place that is not um okay, we'll go into, maybe I'll do a breakdown on that movie. I should do a breakdown, a spiritual breakdown on that movie. um but again, when I was looking at that term reef and things like that, I was thinking more about, is this a mindset? Did she have to go on a journey? And then we talking about the waters and things like that. So it's something that I see it now. I see it for what it's saying. Okay, the different layers, the weaving. Okay, so it says, yet she added, if the king should pray to his God. Okay, perhaps she could come unto him in only 3 years' time. Okay, at the end of 3 years, the Queen of Sheba came with her entourage, a great train of servants and attendants, bearing in their camels baggage, precious stones, gold and silver, and much spices, as well as balsam of Mecca. She and her great train were conducted to Jerusalem. Okay. And when the king was told that the Queen of Sheba had just arrived in the city, he stood up from his place and went to sit in his glass house. Okay. Um, Now, I was thinking of a sunroom, or um, a glass house could just be like some kind of booth, right? A glass house could also be um, yeah, a greenhouse, but I mean, it would say greenhouse or something. So yeah, I mean, I'm thinking this is talking about like a booth, or I'm thinking it's talking about a sunroom or something of that nature. So it says, now while she yet sat in his glass house, the king asked her, what portends to thy coming, my fair queen? Huh? Because I'm even thinking about even like some type of way of transporting, or someone being able to go from one place with a device or something to another. um you know y'all know that movie, The Invisible Man, something to that nature, possibly. It's just something that I'm thinking here. Okay. Yeah, my fair queen had the tokens of the Hopi bird summon thee unto me. Okay, which he didst carry in his wings aloft. Okay. And also this is making me think about a ring, a ring with the signet of the Lion of Judah. Um, for some reason, it's just making me think of, not to say that that's the only thing, but I'm just saying that for some reason that's just coming to mind. Okay. Now it says, she answered, my lord, she said, if thou art so wise that even the wild beasts of the field and the birds of the air do heed thy call, then I shall yet make trial of this thy wisdom. Okay? For I will prove thy wisdom by words and by riddles. Huh. Sound like my kind of girl. It's almost like, again, what we do on this channel, because I'm pretty sure there's some people that can actually go a little bit deeper and see what I'm saying in some of these videos, because they've been walking with me for some time, or they're just able to see where I'm going, because they can. That's just it. And there's a lot, a lot of it is going to go on deaf ears, and that's fine. It's best then people can't come around trying to mess things up again. And by way of puzzling problems which I shall pose unto thee, the queen of Sheba not being able to conceal her amazement at the ease with which the king answered her questions, propense to ask him more questions and riddles. Now, so things have been supposedly, going to be revealed with different readings that I've had myself and been done about like some type of truth or something coming out. The confusion is going to be, and again, I communed with the Elohim about this. And I say that because I use the energy from the sun, the moon, the father, the mother, this is the way I do things. The whole universe is here at my fingertips to use to try to get a better understanding of stuff. And now that can be a good and bad thing if you don't have it balanced, because excuse me, you can go all in one direction, then you're going to miss some things, right? So I don't leave that open all the time, but I usually know where to go, right? With, again, not knowing everything, because sometimes you still think and you have no idea, and then you get smacked and you're like, oh my goodness, why did I didn't see that part. So again, that's why nothing is really in cement. It doesn't have to be for me. I let everything flow. It's living. These words are living, just like we are right now, and just like any of the other creatures and beings and spirits and entities and energies that are, again, here. The ancestors, the guides, here. Okay. So it says again, but you have to hear and see them and acknowledge them and pay homage, and you have to, or you won't, you know, you won't be nourished or fed, you know. So it says here that so again, through sound waves, through music, have you ever been listening to a song and even something is on your mind or something, and you listen to a song and you're like, hey, okay, you get what I'm saying? Okay. Or have you ever been, this is something that happens a lot too, because I think that something is connected to us through some type of waves, right? Okay, we may not have the right words all the way on this channel, but it should resonate with you. It should resonate with you deeply. So, I've noticed that a lot of places where I go in public, okay, the music is catering to what's on my mind, right? So again, it's all wrapped up. You could be in a random place. There was someone at one point in time that was showing something on their channel. A soul sibling of mine um, was sharing something, um, and it just so happens that I was thinking about the same thing at the same time. And when they went live, within 10 minutes, I say within 10 minutes, within that 10-minute marker that I pulled the video up and then had to wait a minute before I left out of the store to put it on, I realized that this person was in their car driving, and I was in a store, a tattoo parlor, trying to get a nose ring. And the very same song, which is an old song, was on in the radio. And I'll tell you what song it was. It was the real Slim Shady. Please stand up. And I'm wondering, wait a minute. Wait, out of all the stations, out of all the things, all the things that could be going on, why is that song? But then again, there was also energy within that time speaking, saying, hey, something is being held back here. Somebody needs to realize something. Somebody needs to stand in. So again, the message that came with that is, there's some imposters here, and somebody, will the real, Slim Shady stand up? But I'm just thinking, we're the real. I couldn't figure it out. What we were talking about, but I just knew that that energy that was on me with that music and that music playing in his background, that something is going on here that I need to be paying attention to. Okay. And it was making me think about imposters in a sense. Okay. So, and that someone wants something to be revealed. Okay. So it says, the queen, realizing the wisdom which the king Solomon had been endowed by his God, left off asking him riddles, and so sought answers to those long-standing questions which she had long ago asked herself in her own land. Wow. But could find no answers. When the queen had heard these matters, she was satisfied and made note of the things. Now, when Solomon had entertained her a great while, wait, we'll stop there. I don't want to make the videos too long. We'll stop there and we'll come back with part 2. Again, I hope you guys are enjoying this type of view on things, and I will definitely see you guys soon. Take care. Don't forget to comment, rate, or subscribe, and join us in the Facebook group, American Aborigines Unchained, for more videos on, again, we just unchain things, all types of things that are going on in this realm right now. We just share all type of information that is going to awaken the soul of the nation. Plural. Okay, so thanks a lot, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care.